Welcome, everybody. What's up? Welcome to the CBC Wizdumb Hour number 176 for Tuesday, August 16th, 2022. I'm Steve Witchell in New Orleans.
I'm Tony Biner coming to you from New Jersey. What's happening?
Yes, sir. What's
All
happening
right.
is
Happy
we're live.
Tuesday.
Yes, we are live
Indeed, we are.
at 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern PM time. If it's not that time equivalent in your time zone, you're watching the replay. But you'll still get enjoyment out of it, even if it's a replay. But
Still get the wisdom, even if it's not fresh.
you'll get the fresh, almost fresh wisdom.
Yeah,
It's always
picked wisdom.
fresh.
It's always fresh picked wisdom, but you know what I mean. It's like right out of the tap, like drinking maple syrup out of the tree, or getting it in the bottle later. It's still just as good, but you know, it's something to be said for.
I never
Yeah.
drank it out of the tree before, but you know, it sounds good. If you're watching us live, come on in and say hello. Tell us where you're from. We will say hello back. I'm always fascinated to see where in the world we are reaching here on this World Wide Web internet thingy. Wow, this first comment is not. Do you see that?
I do.
Okay, yeah, that's not a part of the show, but Mike Schulte is, as always. He said, "My dudes, two of the best heads of hair in the cover band."
Yeah.
I would
Guilty.
argue
know
that.
about Steve's hair because he always has a hat on.
I know it's here.
Yeah,
It's there.
No, you
I
don't.
just
Yeah.
my hair looks terrible, but I would argue that Tony has the better hair than I do.
Thank you.
I just like to let people know because we always put this out as an audio podcast too, and for those who listen to the audio podcast only, you can catch the video version of it on the Cover Band Central YouTube channel. There is a link in the description. You can click that and check out this and all the other ones we've done, plus all the other broadcasts that we've done for other things.
Which is very important because you cannot hear my hair.
That's right. That's
Cannot
why.
hear-
That's
you
what
cannot
made
hear
me.
how good my hair looks.
That's what made me say that. Also, so the link in the description. Also, very huge news. This is the first broadcast we're doing where you, as a viewer, can give stars. Stars are a digital gift to Cover Band Central. You can purchase stars, and they're, 1 star is an equivalent of 1 cent. So you can purchase them in packs and give stars during this broadcast. We really do appreciate it. Everything that we do is for free. So anything you can give back really is very helpful.
So when you hear the star horn, please donate 100 stars. Thank you.
Yes, which would be $1. You know, you can get. I set a goal for 1 million stars for August, so we'll see if we can reach that goal.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, I mean that's not that much. And what else was I gonna say? But that's only on the Facebook page. So if you're viewing on YouTube or in the group, go check out the broadcast on the page where you can give stars. If you're watching on the group, make sure you click the link that lets StreamYard show your name so we know who you are.
Hey, Steve, can you purchase can you purchase gold stars and silver
I know, I
stars?
think they're just regular,
Just regular stars?
one type of star.
Okay.
That's it. Mike Schulte and Pork Tornadoes just did a show at the Field of Dreams baseball game, which was last week, and it was
Awesome.
It was the Reds, and I didn't watch the game, so I don't remember who was playing. I did know, but they did a show for the pregame thing, and they were hired based on a YouTube search. Somebody was looking for a band and they found Pork Tornadoes on YouTube and saw that they looked professional and that they, you know, a lot of people at the shows and the band sounded great. So they got hired for that. So that's a pretty
Awesome.
cool thing. So you don't know where you can go as a cover band. You never know.
That's right.
You could be playing big stadiums.
Provided you put the dedication and the time in like those guys do, you know? And
Exactly.
you promote yourself and you conduct yourself in a professional manner.
Right.
I mean, that's A+ band right there.
Right. Okay, so Shannon is from Massachusetts. What's up, Shannon? Bob is from Columbus. Says go Bucks. Charles
What's up?
says hello from Texas again. He was wondering if you got to meet Eric Carr. He's a drummer and Eric is his hero. I've never met Eric Carr.
I met Eric Carr at a NAMM show. Late 90s, I'm going to say.
Okay. Eric Carr, those of you who
yeah.
don't know, was the drummer for Kiss after
Yes.
Peter Criss left the band,
Yeah.
and he did pass away quite a while ago now, 15 years ago, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Mike said, just a heads up, I don't see the stars option. Maybe it's an issue on his end, or maybe he didn't enable for some reason. Mike, if you're watching in the group, then you won't see it. Maybe that's the reason. If you're watching on the page, you should see it. But I've had
But Mike,
other people
certainly Venmo, cash, or send money is fine too.
But I've had other people say that too, that some people don't see it and some people do. So I don't know what the deal is with that. But that's the only thing I could suggest is go watch it on the Facebook Cover Band Central page. And that's where you should be able to see it. Jordan is in Augusta, Georgia.
To Georgia.
And he says, represented a peculiar music group. I like it. Tiana in Australia, and Charles Ray confirmed that Eric Carr passed away on November 24th, 1991. So almost 30 years.
So
over 30 years ago.
So that was late 80s.
Right. Oh, good, Mike. Okay.
At the NAMM show. Yeah.
Cool. That's it, Mike. Thanks. Nice cat on your shoulder there, by the way. I used to have a black cat.
Yeah.
I loved my black cat. He was the coolest.
It's funny you say it too, because it's so hard that you think back and you're like, yeah, it was like 1980 something, and it's like that's like 40 years ago.
I know. It seems like that's crazy.
Wow, it's like unbelievable. You think like I'm thinking like late 90s, early 2000s. No, it was really like you said, like late 80s.
Right. But yeah, 91 is when Eric passed away, so that's 31 years ago.
Yeah.
Holy cow! Yeah, we're getting older. We're getting up there. All of us. That's what cover band.
Eric Singer then took his place after that.
Yeah, I guess it was Eric Singer next.
Yeah.
He's been with the band quite a while. But yeah, we're all getting older. I watched there's a thing on Netflix called Trainwreck Woodstock '99. Have you seen it?
No, I have not.
But you're familiar with it?
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to watch it yet.
It's a 3-part series documentary, and there was a movie on Netflix too that was put out about Woodstock '99. But this one has interviews with Michael Lang, who was the creator of the original Woodstock and of '94 and of '99 as well, and John Schur, who was the promoter for Woodstock '99. And it was very in depth. This documentary series. I watched all 3 of them in a row. And Facebook user is from Jamaica. Cool.
Jamaica.
Love it. I've never been to Jamaica.
So what's your synopsis of it without giving it all away?
It's very, because I went to Woodstock '99 and I went to Woodstock '94 too. And I would say it's very accurate in the depiction of what it was like there. It's dramatic, if for those who don't, I mean, I'm not giving anything. It's not a spoiler alert because it's something that happened 23 years ago. Wow. So,
yeah. Wow.
And it was all over. It was like, that was pay-per-view. That was a thing back then. And people were able to watch it. Like MTV was there. And it's very dramatic what they show. They show the extremes of things that happen, but that really happened. As far as my experience was concerned, I wasn't really involved in much of those extremes. It was extremely hot on Saturday, the second day. And what they talk about there, it was on a military base, an old military base. And most of the grounds were tarmac or asphalt. There wasn't grass. Like Woodstock '94 was in a grassy area. It was all grass. There was none of that. It was very nice. There were trees everywhere, little streams and stuff. And of course, Woodstock '94, it rained the second day, and then there were the mud people. But Woodstock '94 was still a much more pleasant experience because of the location itself. And the second day, Woodstock '99 was so hot. It was just blazing, the hottest day of the year. And when you have no shade and no grass and it's just all asphalt, it's like It's brutal. And they were selling back then. It was
Bacon.
yeah, and they were selling bottles of water. The regular small like 12-ounce, 16-ounce bottles of water for $4. And back then, 23 years ago, that was a lot of money to charge for that.
Yeah,
It still is, really, I think.
absolutely.
So they really did capture that part of it, the fact that it was that hot. I was fortunate where we were, where we got our tent set up, because we set it up pretty far from the
That there was a
stage.
natural spring bubbling up next to your tent, and you just filled your canteens at will.
We weren't that lucky,
Oh,
but we did set up quite a ways from the stage, and I believe it was in like a small grassy area that we found, because we got there kind of early, and in order to
a
do that,
non-tarmac area.
to find a good spot. But it was still brutally hot, and I remember sitting with my sister-in-law. We found like this little piece of shade, and I remember sitting with her in there, and we were just like so relieved that we could find a little bit of shade for a little while,
Yeah.
while my crazy brother was probably out in the heat and drinking and whatever.
Sure.
But the feeling that they talk about there, that how it was the mood, very accurate the way they described it. That was the mood there. It was much more hostile than it was obviously in '69 and in '94 too. So.
And was that because of the lineup of bands they had there, or just?
Hi, Pamela. She's in Florida. That was definitely a part of it. It was Korn, Rage Against the Machine, Limp Bizkit, just all these kind of
Yeah,
who
much
else?
heavier acts, than
Yeah,
traditional years.
yeah, and they weren't helping the matter. Like when you see that crowd, if you watch that documentary and you see that crowd, the mosh pits and everything, and the way, and I remember this specifically too, and they talk about it in the documentary too, from the stage point of view. I don't remember who it was, but they were talking about where you could see like just a swarm of people. It was packed tight, but you could just see like a swarm of people moving, like a whole group, like a in an ocean, just kind of moving. And I remember being stuck in that, where it was almost like my feet were off the ground and I couldn't.
That happened to me at Pearl Jam. I told you about that a couple episodes ago.
Yeah,
Where the crowd compressed, and all of a sudden I got pushed like 100 feet to the side.
yeah,
Came off the ground, and it was like snapping a towel.
and it's very scary feeling where you're like, I can't control this right now. I can't control my own body where it's going to go.
Right.
And I remember, just quickly getting out of that as soon as I was able to, and not going back in there. And you could see it from the stage point of view, which I never got to see. And it is frightening what you see.
Yeah.
And then people got just crazy violent. There was rapes and looting, just destroying things. Almost took the sound tower down. They were you could see them all just taking it apart, like this whole group of guys just kicking the plywood off and trying to, I mean, nuts. And then of course it ended with all the fires, and Red Hot Chili Peppers just stoking the flame by playing Fire by Jimi Hendrix after there was one fire already.
Right.
And then you see just all these fires pop up, and we were gone by that point. We had left
Yeah.
Sunday, probably late afternoon, early evening. We left, so I wasn't there for the fires and stuff. It might have been just starting when we were walking out. I don't really remember. It's all a blur, that whole weekend for me. But but I highly recommend it, just to see. I mean, it's kind of entertaining to watch, and to see how it's very clear that the organizers, specifically Michael Lang and John Scher, did not take anything into consideration about the people's experience, what it's going to be like. None whatsoever. All they cared about was making money with it. And he says it outright. John Scher says it. We want to make money. And they never show any concern. And they have press conferences during it, and they just try to make it sound all flowery and nice and everything to the press when it clearly was not. So, yeah, it's a good. I recommend it. It's called Trainwreck Woodstock '99. It's on Netflix.
An excellent perspective, Steve, from someone who was there.
Yeah, I mean, I could talk all hour about it, but I'm not going to do that. Adam's in San Antonio. What's up, Adam? Thanks for joining.
It's happening.
Lorraine Kissick in Vegas. And Wichita, Kansas is Jamie.
Yep. What's up, Jamie?
So no playing for me since last week, since we last spoke.
No calls to arms for Steve Witchell?
Nothing. And I'm okay with that.
It's coming.
I'm okay with it. I know. No, I'm not worried.
Yeah, I gigged on Thursday.
Okay.
Outdoor summer concert series, another one. People bring their lawn chairs. Outdoor gig, pro sound. It was awesome. Great gig. A lot of fun. They already booked us for next year. So it was our first time. Yeah, our first time playing it, and the lady came right up and said, "I'll be calling you guys, next week on Monday, and I'll book you guys for next year."
There you go. So that's always nice.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's always nice to get a
Well, it's nice when you're in a band and you're recognized for your efforts. Where the band sounds good, like you were saying, like with Mike Schulte and Pork Tornadoes. You're polished, you're professional, you rehearse, you present well, and then it transfers that way. And you select the songs like we always talk about for the gigs that you're going to do. Like we have a summer outdoor gig, set list for the outdoor venues because they're all different. They're all different towns. Not a lot of the same people come to every one of them because they're so widespread apart, right? So you have your different fan bases geographically that'll come out to those parks that are closest to them. And it's like I said, it's nice to be able to play a gig and then have the promoter who actually there who stopped in to make sure everything was good to go and was customarily catches a little bit of the band and stuff like that before they move on, and they actually stayed the entire show, the whole 3 hours, and then found us at the end to say, wow, really had a great time, definitely going to book you guys for next year, so get you on the calendar. My band's name is OC5, Orange County 5, out of Orange County, New York. Most of those guys live. So all our gigs are pretty much like, in that general vicinity, but within an hour travel time for me, which is great, and yes, and I'm gigging this weekend again up in Lake Apacon, up at Jefferson House on the water, so that'll be another nice gig. The only brutal part about that is for the first hour, the sun sets right in front of the stage, so it's blazing right on you.
Right.
Sunglasses for the first set, but then once it goes over the backside of the mountain there, it's beautiful. I mean, it's awesome.
Yeah, you're wearing sunglasses, you look cool. You're in a rock band.
Great venue. Yeah, so sunglasses at night. You keep them on till 10 o'clock when you're done.
I don't know who this is, but they said, cool, I'm in New Jersey.
Awesome. Come check us out.
It's Facebook user.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be funny if somebody showed up and that's exactly what you saw. Is this, this silhouette, just a white silhouette?
Just a white.
And you would know.
Oh,
you would know right away. Hey, Facebook user.
Dude, that's funny you say, because my youngest son, Cole, one year for Halloween, he had this costume where it was this green. It was completely green. And the top part pulled over your face and it covered your entire head. But but you could see through the fabric.
Right.
And then his whole body was greened out and the sleeves had no hands. So you had dead end hands. It was freaky. And he dressed up like that and he looked like a green screen guy.
Yeah, people use that for green screens, yeah.
Yeah.
When they do reels and stuff.
Exactly. So he used that, and so maybe that's what that guy would come up. Roll up in a completely whited out costume and just be like, I'd be like, Facebook user, I got you. I know you.
Yeah.
Cover band center.
So, yeah. So Facebook user, if you're going to Tony's show, make sure that's how you look when you get there.
Yes, maybe put CBC on your white so we know.
There you go. Put it right on your chest.
That's it. No, like real clandestine, secret, just like like only the secret club would know to look for.
Okay, the secret CBC club.
Yeah, secret CBC club.
Okay, so I chose for a topic, and this is an interesting conversation to have with you because of how you are not a participant. So the topic I picked is social media, and that's a can of worms right here. But I am on all the socials, as well as Cover Band Central is on all the socials.
Indeed, you are.
You have elected to not be on all the socials, and
Correct.
so if you don't mind sharing that publicly, what your reasoning for that is, then we can kick off our conversation that way.
Sure, Steve. I'll give you some insight into my lack of social media.
Facebook users are showing up that way because if you're watching in the group, you need to click the link that lets StreamYard show your name. That's why. Okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tony.
Good information.
Yeah.
No, really, it started with just a basic lack of time to dedicate to maintaining a Facebook page or a MySpace page, if you want to go back that far. Some sort of presence where you're posting and you're on and you're doing things, right? Like, I've just been so busy in life. It's just the way my life's always been my entire life, where I don't have a lot of downtime to dedicate to that. And the downtime I do have, I try to dedicate to other things. But now, as we are progressing, and I've always been involved in a situation musically where there was a presence that I was part of that I didn't have to be the chairman for. Like, I didn't have to host it. I didn't have to be the like, I was in a band. It had an online presence. You know what I mean? And I had an online presence via that band, or like with you through Cover Band Central, or through the new band. They have presence on all these things, Instagram and Facebook and all these other things. But I'm starting to realize now that, as we've talked about, as I start to develop more content that I could share with the world, then I'm becoming more inclined to start to get involved with social media, but not on Facebook, but more from an Instagram or YouTube or TikTok or something where I could share videos or something, musical or drumming, or even inspirational or motivational with the quotes. Like, I started posting some things on LinkedIn with that. So,
Okay.
That's the only social media presence I do have right now is only through, like I said, any of my affiliates that I would be associated with. And just because I see the amount of time, and it's not really an excuse, but me, like, if I'm going to do something, I want to go all in. So if I was going to have a presence online, I would feel obligated to have to keep it updated and current and fresh. Like, you know what I mean? Otherwise, it's no sense at least in my perspective, of having a social media presence if you're not going to check it, once a month, or you only get around to it like, hey, my last post was February and it's July,
Right.
So that's part of the reason why I never really got into it either, just because I knew I couldn't give it the attention that it would need. And rather than just look foolish by, being online but having no presence, so to speak,
Right.
seemed like a waste of time. So if you're going to do it, I think you have to commit to it. And I see how active you are with what you do and how you schedule posts, and you have a whole routine, and it's your full-time gig. So it consumes a lot of time, right? So same thing. It's just for time management purposes. It's just by the time the day starts to wind down, I just don't have the time to dedicate to that. And I know it sounds silly, but you've known me long enough to understand that that's really a truthful statement. Like, it's just, there's a lot going on that I have to dedicate my attention to.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, if you created a Facebook account, there's no requirement for you to post with any sort of frequency or to keep it updated.
Understood.
At all. I mean, that's your way of approaching things, and I understand that. And that's,
but also, if I'm not checking it, Steve, and I'm not engaged in the community of being involved in it, then why do it? See, that's kind of my reasoning too.
Right. Dorothy's here from Illinois, her first time. Thanks, Dorothy, for joining us. And Frida in Boston. I miss Boston, man. I love Boston. I haven't been there in a long time.
Yeah, me too. Been a while.
Great city. I mean, I do spend a good deal of my time on social media, mostly Facebook, Instagram, definitely, YouTube a lot, and TikTok quite a bit now too, and more so now just because of Cover Band Central than anything. I don't really post personal stuff much anymore. It's got to be something that I want to remember specifically. Like, if I'm playing, I'll say, hey, I'm playing tonight at blah, blah, blah. And that's something I kind of use my Facebook posts as sort of an online scrapbook / journal type of thing.
Sure.
Because you get the memories every day where you can look back on that date last year and previous years.
Mm-hmm.
And that I like seeing usually because I don't tend to post anything negative really. Unless, I mean, like negative events or what you would perceive as a negative event, like somebody passing away or when I had COVID or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but just in general things, like I'm only going to post something that's positive because I want to, when I see my memories, I don't want to go back and look at, oh, I was in a shitty mood that day, like that's not something I would want to remember. There's no reason for that.
Look, Steve, 4 years ago today, you were a complete D-bag.
Right. You see my profile now. It says, hey, Steve, it's Ari. He'll be coming for sunny September 26th. Stop by. Maybe I will, Steven. Maybe I will.
Maybe.
That's
you
okay.
might, Stevie.
But along those lines, any other interaction I have on Facebook, I always keep it positive. And that's not true for many people online. And I run into this every day pretty much with the Cover Band Central group and the page too. The things that people say to each other or to me are just not things that people would say normally in everyday life. There's a different way there's a different protection people think that they have. They feel like they have when they're posting online. And I mean, the reason I chose this topic, social media, is because I want people to realize that what you're typing online is pretty much there to stay. Unless you delete it, it's pretty much there forever. And people don't think that far ahead, but something you say right now online, 10 years from now, might come back and kick you in the ass.
Well, think it from this perspective too, Steve. If you have, I think you need to have a social media presence if you're promoting yourself in any way, right? If you're in a band, if you're an artist, if you have a business, right? If you're running a Cover Band Central, anything that you have an endeavor that you wish to try to prosper from, or you want to get out to the masses, I think social media is a necessary evil, right? And it's definitely something that you have to be engaged in and part of to help to bolster that effort. But to your point about your comments, not only are they there forever, right? But people tend to forget that they may be living behind the shield and they can say whatever they want, right? Because it's not like you're telling it to someone's face. But when you see I don't think people fully realize or understand the impact that their words have on other people. And, when you say hateful things, they do have an effect on people, and it stirs up, some people to come right back out and spew more venom and add fuel to the fire and let's go and I'll show you, but it's more, seldom do you see someone try to squelch that fire or just say you're entitled to your belief and I respect that opinion, but I don't necessarily agree with it, but let's move on or talk about something else. I think social media is a good platform for people to easily get sucked into bad things. I think there's a lot of good out there too, but I think if people realize that think of the impact social media would have if it was the other way around. Instead of it being so populated with trolls and people looking for ways to spew hate. Imagine if it was flipped the other way around, right? And that was the minority instead of the majority on a lot of these groups. It would be so much more powerful. The world would be such a much better place.
It certainly would. But yeah, you hit
because
it on
you
the
have
head.
Global reach. But you said global reach, right? So
Yeah.
you say something. Not only is it there forever, but you're reaching the world with your words. So why wouldn't you use your words to help try to uplift people or make the world a better place instead of trying to make it what you deem it should be from your, cave of hatred, right? It's like, that needs to be squelched, I think. And then I think social media would be a much more viable means of which to unite the whole world.
Agreed. What's up, Nick in East Tennessee? Yeah, I mean, you hit it on the head there, too. You don't realize the impact you have on other people. Somebody might be seriously depressed, and then you say something to them that makes them feel even worse about themselves. And, I mean, I've had people say things to me or about Cover Band Central that are seriously negative that stick with me, that I remember, and they don't necessarily affect my choices, but I remember them, and it's like
And
it
I think
feels
that
just
those people get
icky.
off on that fact that they're like, yeah, I, insulted you, and it's gonna stay with you.
Yeah,
And that's the issue. That's the problem. It's not that people say things recklessly and then they're like, "Oh man, I shouldn't have said that because I offended him," and now it's gonna. No, I think people are saying it with the intent of exactly that, with
right.
bad intent, with malice
Of
to
trying to hurt people. Yes,
correct. And that's where I think the problem is with society. You know what I mean?
we should
Yeah.
all be like
See.
Dorothy, who
Yeah.
said, I just love music and checking out anything that has music or groups that makes her happy," which is the
And
way to
that's what you
go.
should do, right? You're happy, spread joy, spread happiness to others. If
Yeah,
someone was to say, "Hey Steve, I'm just learning how to play bass and, I'm so excited. I just bought a brand new bass and I'm going to try to learn this song," and you come back and you say to him like, "You're too old. You should have started when you were younger. Pack it
right.
up." You know what I mean? Like, that song's way too hard for you to learn. You should go back and learn something easier. Like, that's a whole different. That person's going to walk away from that experience with a whole different outlook moving forward than if you said, "Oh, excellent, like another bass player, this is fantastic, like, so excited that you're gonna, undertake this instrument, and the learning, and if you need anything from Cover Band Central, we're here to help, and best of luck to your endeavors," and you're a positive and appreciative of that person, and supporting them. They walk away from that with a much different experience and a much different outlook of saying like, "Yeah, now I'm excited to play bass and I want to go practice," instead of walking away saying, "Yeah, maybe he's right. Maybe I am too old. I should just go back and return to the music store." And maybe that dream never comes to fruition because of something that one person said, that the person that was on the receiving end of it was in a vulnerable position to let it affect them to where it changed their mind, you know?
The world needs more bass players, says Steven. Yeah, I tend to think that written word.
Definitely.
I tend to think that written word has a lot more impact than spoken word because of the permanence of it, and because you can read something over and over again, and each time you read it, it has that same effect, and you just tend to remember it more, and because yeah, it stays there forever. So if you're on social media for professional purposes, especially with music, which is what we do here. You have a band, you have a project, you play gigs. Your best bet is to always keep it positive. You might disagree with other people. Other people might disagree with you, but don't engage in arguing with somebody. Like you were saying before, you could say, why don't well, you can agree to disagree and let's just move forward from this, or you could just say nothing. You can say nothing. If somebody says something to you that insults you or disagrees with you, you have an option to respond or to not. You don't have to prove, you don't have to
Dude, I
puff up your
remember seeing
chest,
I
you
remember
know.
seeing like 20 years ago when YouTube was, and someone had posted video, and I forget who it was, but I never forget that the comments were like, "Oh, Steve, like awesome video, dude. Like, so great to see you back and playing." And you're like, "Thanks, man. Appreciate the kind words or whatever." And then somebody would be like, "You suck, dude. Like, pack it up or something." And like, and the response was just like, "Excellent. Thanks for the kind words." Like all the insults were still responded with like, "Right on, man. Like, yeah, good. Like, I'll take that into consideration. Thanks. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
good perspective on that. I'll take that into consideration. I value your opinion. Thanks." Like, and there was no like, "F you," or I'm not going to get in a battle of wits with you because you're clearly unarmed. Like responses like that, that incite more, you know, more
It's just
responses to
this.
elicit that. And like you said, we should inspire others to aspire, right? If everyone was supportive of each other, think of what that could be, instead of being insecure and let me tear down anybody who's I feel is like has some measure of success. So I think my final comment on the social media will be that the people that are, like we always talk about, that are spewing those type of things are just insecure people, and you really shouldn't let their opinion matter or even get to you, because if one person jumps on with a negative comment, unfortunately 100 more will.
Oh yeah.
And it takes some thick skin and some confidence in who you are as a person to like either be offended by it or to be amused by it. Like the older I get, I choose to be amused by people's rudeness or their, clever banter, or they're trying to be, cute, or they're being insulting, or they're being passive aggressive. It's like I don't really have any tolerance for it anymore, but I get amused by it. So rather than be angered or offended by it, just engage it like it's a game, and try to
Sure.
see, where you can take it without, getting sucked into it yourself, or without offending someone, because you don't want to be offensive. But at the same time, it's interesting that you can lead certain people down certain paths if you're game to play with them. If you see that they're not going to, you know what I mean? You get somebody's number sometimes, and
Hmm.
that how they're going to respond to the conversation, right? So you try to steer it in a positive thing, but they're always going to try to spin. So it's almost like a witty banter of sorts to say, how can you keep the positive raft afloat with all the, with this guy's piling all this negative rocks and boulders on top of it, trying to sink it,
Right.
How do you keep
Yeah.
deflecting and casting it aside to keep it positive?
Yeah. You just don't engage, like Steven said. That's what they want.
And just
Chris,
enjoy your life.
Chris R. watching on YouTube said, "Love the show, guys. I always take your insights into account for steering our band in the right direction." So there you go. We're helping
Awesome.
somebody.
Yeah. Listen, if you
Um,
help one person, you've done a good job, because we're here to
yeah.
help each other. That's what we should be
Yeah.
doing, right?
Yeah. I mean, Tony and I want to take it the other way and just dispel positive information, disseminate positive information, and have it shared too. But this is something that people deal with every day. And somebody mentioned about the political stuff too. In the group, I don't allow any political discussions, although it does come up, and I have to go in and be the heavy and delete things or delete people. But I also have to deal with that negative type of stuff every day, and I don't engage with it at all ever as the group admin, and it happens on the page too. And if people take it too far, then I boot them. But I don't take any of it personally, because it's not about me. It's about them. It's about that. Even if they did know me personally, it's still about them. It's not about me. People are insecure. They project. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you have a dream that you want to do something, you shouldn't let anyone's opinion about it deter you from doing it, right? Because if it's a dream that's in your heart and you have a desire to do it and you have a belief in yourself that you can do it, that's all
Right.
you need to maintain. And you could have
Yeah.
1,000 naysayers. It's not. It's like what strikes the oyster, right? That does not damage the pearl.
Right. Thanks, Chris. You said your video on 90s songs for 90s cover bands was solid. We do a lot of the ones you mentioned. Thanks, Chris. Put a
Nice.
lot of work into that.
Yeah. A lot of
There's a lot
90s
of
tunes.
videos. Yeah. There's a lot of videos on the YouTube channel. For those of you who don't know about that, the link is in the description. It's just Cover Band Central on YouTube. But make sure you subscribe like Chris did. That's how he knew that we were going live, I'm going to guess.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Good stuff.
I'm highly active on social media. It's everybody is. When smartphones came about, 10, 12 years ago now, and we were able to access videos and everything else on our phones, people spend an awful lot of time on social media. So it's going to be our legacy. Things will be different again in 30 years or 40 years or 50 years.
Hmm. Maybe a lot sooner than that.
So yeah, so this time now is going to be our legacy, and what you're saying, what you're typing, words you're typing, info you're putting up, pictures, whatever, it's there to stay.
Yeah, and
It's
what do you want to leave behind, right, as your legacy?
yes. Thanks, Chris. Right, and think about that before you say something, before you type something, before you respond to something, before you take something personally. Think about all that. Is this really going to matter? Is it going to matter next week? Is it going to matter next month, next year, in 10 years?
I think part of the humor in it too is that if you're really steeped in your beliefs, Steve, and you're telling me what they are, and I'm trying to convince you of my beliefs and they're radically different than yours, I just think, like, I don't understand how people don't realize what a waste of time that is. Like, I'm not going to change your mind no matter
Right,
what I tell you.
right.
So are we going to spend the next hour, battling back and forth that you're going to try to convince me to think like you do, and I'm going to try to convince you to think like I do, when it's not going to happen, right? Just accept that and say, like you said, I don't agree with the way you're thinking. It's radically different from my thought process. But again, we could just, choose to, I respect your belief and you're entitled to your own opinion. That's it.
Right.
I'm not going to try to convince you of mine,
Right.
because your definition of the truth might be different from my definition of the truth or my interpretation of the truth, right? There's only one truth to whatever the matter might be. But, there's always three sides, right? Side A, side B, and then the truth. Because the perspective of what the truth is a matter of your own opinion. So you're entitled to yours and I'm entitled to mine,
Right. However, that does bode well for activity in the group, people disagreeing with each other and trying to make the other person change their mind. But it's with harmless topics like cargo shorts and backing tracks and tip jars.
But you can but it's like, let's say, like we were talking about, like cargo shorts or sandals, right? Like you can say, like, dude, I'm wearing these shorts because it's hot out and I don't care. I don't care what I look like. I'm wearing them. So that means there's really not much I can do to persuade you from not wearing them. Even if I tell you.
No, but then somebody will say, "Well, it looks unprofessional. You shouldn't do that because you look
correct,
like
right? Yeah, look like look like whatever." And then the guy would say, "I get it, but I don't care. I'm wearing cargo shorts." So that's a person you're not going to have a productive conversation with because their mind's already made up, right?
I see it every day. That and iPads. iPads on stage, and then people go so far as to find pictures of other bands, say, "See, look, they're wearing shorts," and "See, look, they're reading lyrics on stage."
Great. So if you want to do that, have at it. If you don't, then don't. Right? Like you do your thing, and they'll do theirs, and I'll do mine, and you'll do yours, and it's like live and let live, man. Come on.
It's great for the group, though. It keeps.
I'm sure it is, but the Cover Band Central Police, it's like the Cover Band Central Security, team here, as far as policing everything. No shorts, no iPads, none of this.
Right. No sandals, no backing tracks.
Right. No sandals, no backing tracks. All kinds of rules going on here. None of this, none of that. No tip jars. No. We play the clicks.
We don't have a tip jar here on the page, but you can give stars now. To the Cover Band Central page. You can purchase a pack of stars and give them. That's the way you can give back a little bit here to Cover Band Central. I was watching some videos. A lot of people, that happens a lot in the group, but a lot of people post great content, and I know we've looked at some of it here during the show. But I was watching some of the videos last night of recent posts, and man, oh man, there's some talented people out there, young people too.
Yeah.
There was one band in Wildwood, and they played Red House, which is blues. Jimi Hendrix, Stevie Ray Vaughan has done it. I don't know if it was even before that, but young guys, early 20s, I would say, and man, oh man, they were good. They were just two guitars. The singer played guitar, and there was another guitar player, bass player, drummer, and holy moly, I was like blown away by these guys. And I don't remember what the name was, but it's in the Cover Band Central group. They posted it yesterday or the day before, and the drummer was like playing like Keith Moon, and I'd never seen anybody play like Keith Moon before. In a cover band, where it's just like, it's not a 2-4 beat. It's just but just it fit so well, and they were all really, really top-notch players.
Well, dude, it's so funny you say it, because I remember watching some late night TV one night and flipping on a channel. This is a while ago too, and it was like some music show, and it was like in between acts, and there was like, it was these 5 Asian teenagers in Cub Scout uniforms. Okay. And when it came on, it was almost like, what is this, like a variety show or something? And same thing, dude, they started playing this blazing fusion progressive jazz metal where like my jaw dropped in awe. I was like, oh my God, these guys are, unbelievable. I mean, they were like monsters. Then you put 2 and 2 together. It's like, okay, well, obviously they're on like Channel 7. It's 2:00 in the morning on some, random, show, but they were super talented. And like I said, not one kid looked like he was more than like 14 years old.
Wow.
and they were slamming. And they had Cub Scout uniform. That was their look. They were like a Cub Scout pack. They all had like the uniforms on with the numbers on, troop number on the shoulder, and like the merit badges and everything. And then the little like kerchief things with the bandana on the back with like the Weeblos or the Bobcat on it or whatever.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, dude, funny stuff. And then, like I said, all laughter stopped as soon as they started playing because it was like, holy cow, wasn't expecting that.
That's great. So they had their little gimmick that they
Yeah.
did, and that's cool. There's a lot of videos in the group. I'm trying to find this because now that I talked about it, I have to show you.
Yeah, and I
the
mean,
rest of the
another thing
audience.
while you're looking for that, think of a band name that is going to get people to remember what it is, right? That's a good thing because, like you said, like, dude, I saw this band; they were they're awesome, but I don't remember the name.
Okay, these guys are called Fat Mez, Mezz, and I'm going to share the screen and just
Mez.
Yeah, I'm going to share the screen and show you a little bit of it because see if you agree with me on how good these guys are. There we go. I'm just going to play a little bit of it. I'm going to skip ahead though. Let's make sure we can hear it. I'm just going to skip ahead to the end.
I like all the waiters and waitresses walking by in front of the
I know. I'm going
while the dude's whipping it up.
Yeah, I'm going to skip ahead a little bit more because where they show the crowd and they're kind of tearing it up here. So hang on.
Nice venue right on the water there.
Yeah. That drummer, man.
Nice.
That's nice. Like an afternoon gig on the Jersey Shore, and wow, those guys are really killing it. Fat
They
Mez.
were definitely killing it. Fat Mez.
I got to check out more of their stuff. I hadn't seen. Dorothy said, "Wow."
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, you said that drummer. He's got
He's playing open. He's playing. He doesn't play crossed over.
right.
Like he wouldn't play high at this way. He was playing it open. He had a ride on the left and a hat on the left.
But he had a sheet over his drums, like a fitted sheet that you would put on your bed.
I didn't see that.
You didn't see it?
No, I didn't see a fitted sheet on his
Yeah.
drum set.
Yeah, dude. Look.
What's a sheet on a drum set, man? You muffling the sound?
Wait, look. Here, I'll share it with you again. I don't have to play it. I'll just share it.
I just need to see the picture. What you're talking about?
Yeah.
I may have to try. I may have to steal that.
Yeah, what's that all
Although
about?
I need like a California double king.
Look
Oh
at
yeah,
his.
there you go. He's got the old Ringo trick going.
Is that
He's
what
like a
that
ghost.
is?
Yeah, what he's doing is he's making it so that his drums are not blowing everybody out of the venue because he's in the corner. It's all glass around him. Although it is open air though, so I don't know why he'd want to muffle him like that. But I don't know. Maybe they're very very ringy, and he's just using that as a way to mute everything and muffle it so it's not so ambient. You know?
Right. It's got a nice big kick drum though.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Ghost cheat. That's cool.
all top notch players. Oh,
Yeah, it
cool.
sounded great.
Facebook users said they are one of the hottest cover bands in the Philadelphia, South Jersey area. Cool. I don't know who you are, Facebook user.
I wonder if are they all blues?
The satin sheets. I don't know. I have to look more into them. But maybe I'll do a
Satin
feature.
sheets, yeah.
Maybe
You
I'll do.
fit it.
Maybe I'll do a feature on them once I learn a little bit more about them.
Yeah, the Fat Mez.
But yeah, Liz said that was a heavy blues outfit. They've obviously been playing for a long time. But they look young. They look like early 20s.
The singer didn't look that young. He looked
Well,
like
because he
maybe,
had a little mustache thing going, but I don't know. They're younger
yeah,
than me.
yeah, for sure. They're definitely
Yeah,
under 30. Put it that way.
yeah. A lot of people are young now to me, getting to be an old man,
Yeah,
I
see that?
guess. Yeah. So,
That's why we're here to share wisdom, Steve, to all those young whippersnappers.
right. But that's what you want to use social media for, kids. Sharing your talents out there, your videos, and being positive. I know, Steve. I just said that. See, everyone's younger than you.
Yeah, of course.
You want to be positive. You want to share things that are you're going to be proud of to look back on, and get into arguments with people saying negative things about other people or even yourself is it's not the thing that you want to remember when you're going forward.
And you always have a choice. You can choose to engage, or you can choose to not engage, or you
Right.
can choose to diffuse, or you can choose to fight and kill them with kindness.
Right. Fight the good fight, like Triumph said.
That's right.
Rick Emmett with his Flying V.
That's a
Well,
great band, Triumph.
They were. Another three-piece from Canada, overshadowed by Rush,
Yeah.
the other three-piece from Canada. Speaking of Rush, too, since that's one of our favorite bands, both of us, if you all haven't seen it out there, I don't know if you've seen it, but there was I think, 25th anniversary party thing for South Park
Yep.
in Red Rocks in Colorado, which is an outdoor venue, famous outdoor venue. I've never been there. I would love to go. And Trey Parker and Matt Stone were there, and I think it was Matt Stone who was playing drums, and they surprised him. There was a little animation with Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson, South Park style, and then Primus was there on stage playing a lot, obviously because Primus does the theme for South Park.
Mm-hmm.
Les Claypool on bass and vocals, and then Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson showed up, and they played, and Matt Stone was surprised, and he was Primus's drummer, I don't know his name, was on stage.
Tim Herb Alexander.
Okay, and so they
They
played.
double drummed it, yeah.
They double drummed it. They played Closer to the Heart, right?
Yeah.
It was Closer to the Heart, with two drummers and two bass players who were Geddy Lee and Les Claypool.
Yeah. First time that Geddy and Alex have played together since Neil passed.
Right. Very cool to watch if you're a Rush fan. Seek it out on YouTube if you haven't seen it. Geddy, obviously, the vocals were rough. I mean, that's high. That.
Yeah, that's Geddy. Yes, young Geddy. Getting way up there.
Yeah.
And I'd say for probably 10 years, it's been hard for him to sing that.
Yeah, at least 10 years.
You know?
But he gave it the old college try.
Well, and not only that, as soon as you hear his voice, you unmistakably know it's him.
Yeah.
And the whole audience just erupted, in applause, regardless if it was a little rough or not. It was still Geddy, right?
Yeah.
So it's like good to see him.
Yeah, you got to give him credit that he doesn't tune it down or
No,
he doesn't.
he tries his best to do it. And,
He doesn't use backing tracks. He just tries his best.
And he has no iPod. He wasn't wearing any cargo shorts. So, he's got a lot of things going for him.
And his voice is cracking, and he's got to know it's cracking. But,
it is what it is, man. He's Geddy Lee, right? I mean, it's not going to sound like it did, 20 years ago. And people are just glad to see him up there actually playing, right? Because people miss Rush and they miss those guys, and you're never going to see him again, So it's like a rare opportunity to get to see them,
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. I saw it I mean, it was soon after it happened. I posted something, and I saw the YouTube video. I was like, this was last week, and I was like, ooh, this is cool. And so it's I'm sure it's rough for those guys to even get back on stage playing Rush songs, those two. Alex
Oh, yeah, without a doubt, I think it's more part of their healing process, but it's not the same, as playing it with Neil.
Right. But for something like that, for that kind of celebration, especially...
That's what I mean. It's big legacy,
Yeah. If you're a fan of South Park, which I am, and they've, talked about... They always joke about Canada on South Park.
Yeah.
I'm sure they've alluded to Rush many times, too. But that was pretty cool to watch. So check that out if you can find it.
Yeah,
you can find it. You can find it, definitely. It's been all over the socials. So like Liz said, and we can wrap up that conversation with what Liz says. She says, I think it's helpful to discuss stuff with people if you can do it respectfully.
Right.
And that is the way to go, man. Be respectful to other people. People you don't know, you can make a difference. This is the World Wide Web. We are broadcasting right now live to across the world. There's people in the Philippines watching now. I've never been to the Philippines. I've never met anybody in the Philippines, but I can have an impact on somebody in the Philippines here by something I say. And
indeed,
that's the way we want. We want good things in this world for ourselves, for each other, and this is a great way to do it. And I know, like you said it before about trying to change people's minds. I don't know how much of a difference it'll make for me saying that. I don't know if somebody's going to all of a sudden rethink the way they write on social media, but maybe they will. It's worth a shot.
Well, you can't change the world per se, like, one small step at a time, but you can change yourself instantly, and by changing yourself and the way that you act in this world, maybe you can elicit change elsewhere.
Yes.
Either by example or by, like you said, prompting someone else to maybe think differently or elicit a different response based on your response to something that they may have said.
Yes.
So, always something to think about, right?
Yeah. Everything has the butterfly effect, too. So anything...
More power, Steve, than you even realize that you have.
Yes.
We all do.
We all do. Everything you say and do has that butterfly effect where it affects everything else. So think about it before you post things and try to leave a good legacy for yourself. That's the way to go.
Yeah.
A good way to leave a good legacy for yourself is to join the website, coverbandcentral.com. Create a profile for you, your band, or both. It is free. Lots of goodies on the site, too. And we're all about positivity and celebration of music on the site. So check it out if you have not yet. The YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe. The link is in the description. That's where all our videos are. You can give stars now.
Yeah.
It's a way to give a digital gift to Cover Band Central during our live stream. So if you have given stars during this hour and we haven't seen it, thank you very much. And spread the word that you can do that. And I think that's all I got.
Spread stars.
Spread stars. You can always reach me, Steve at coverbandcentral.com, for questions, comments, or anything else that you want to say. And you can reach Tony that way, too, through there. Just let me know that you're wanting to talk to Tony. Okay.
Yeah.
That'll do it. Thank you very much for joining.
Nice.
Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for watching. And we will see you next week. Yeah.